this review, we're going to be looking at the very first figure of the new Legacy line of figures, Lady Death. This figure was designed by LooseCollector Collectibles in conjunction with Executive Replicas. This is a figure I've been really looking forward to getting. I pre-ordered this back in May 8th, 2020, so it's been almost a full year since pre-order to getting. So I've been really looking forward to getting this figure. My first introduction to this character back in the 90s, which actually got the very first issue for birthday. My birthday kind of lined up with almost the same time when the first issue released. And I got Lady Death and a few other books for my birthday. That chromium, real beautiful cover from issue number 1. And this is styled after her original look. She's had a few different looks in the comics throughout time, because on the box itself actually has nice artwork on the side of another look for Lady Death. And on the opposite side is another outfit for Lady Death. So I'm kind of hoping we actually get a few different variations of Lady Death in this line. We're also getting Hell Witch, Chaotica, Lady Satanus, and La Morta. We've seen the prototypes of both Hell Witch and La Morta. The box is really nice. You got the shiny black. The only issue I have with the box, where it's a nice shiny finish, it is static magnet, and I've been trying to keep the dust and stuff off of it. You can see right there. I've wiped this down I don't know how many times before the review. Stuff just keeps clinging to it. It is very statically charged. On the box, I really like the Gothic window style look with around the window. And like I showed before, we have the artwork on the side. You have a beautiful product imaging shot on the back of the box, and it shows all the features. 6-inch scale, 26 points articulation, removable cape, alternate hands, Hellsai, Deathbringer sword, and bad attitude. She also has a bio on there if you want to pause it and read that. On the top you have the Legacy series Lady Death, and on the bottom you just have a barcode. Here we have Lady Death in her clamshell. It's very collector friendly packaging. It's actually a 2-piece clamshell. You can actually remove the top and get a better view of the accessories inside. With the top clamshell off, you can see that she comes with 2 alternate grip hands, the Hellsai and the Deathbringer sword. And the way it is in the back, there's a large opening on the back, so you can actually remove the figure very easily. Here we have Lady Death freed from the plastic tray. She is a stunning figure. She just looks great. With the sculpt and the paint, they really captured her look from the 90s. It's just very nicely detailed figure. I love all the blue highlight shading over top the black on the suits. The only thing on this one, I actually see, it looks like the shoulders are a little yellowed on this one. On my other one, they don't have that yellow tinge like that. I don't know why these are got that. As you can see, I pulled the other one out. Her shoulders are not yellow like that. I don't know what's going on there, but the sculpting, the detail, is just really nice on this figure. That just really captures the look from the 90s. The only thing I wish they would have done had an alternate cape. I think the inner red of their cape is more of a more modern look for Lady Death. Her original look in the 90s, the inside of her cape was blue. There's a possibility if they do a reissue, because she is currently sold out everywhere. The only way you're going to be able to get Lady Death right now is through a secondary market, through resellers. But she is sold out. I checked earlier, the Coffin Comics is sold out, Executive Replicas is sold out, Big Bad Toy Store is sold out. If any other vendors were carrying her, I don't know, but those are all sold out. So if they possibly do like a reissue, do like a blue cape inside, and if they do another reissue, there's something else I'll mention here in a minute. With the sculpt, the detailing, the big flowing puffy hair like the 90s hair, they did a really good job working with I like how they worked with the constant. Normally I don't like this style cut for a bicep swivel, but with the actual type of gloves on her arms, they made the swivel there. So actually I don't mind it like that. I just want to see too. Yeah. On the back of the forearms, that's the only thing I'm not real crazy about with the design with the molds. They put the sprue cuts on the top of the triceps. I wish they could have done that with like underneath where the sockets go in, and then they could have just cleaned it up and not had this visible sprue mark. The arms and legs are all seamless technology. There's no pins. The skin tone is almost like almost has a translucency. It almost looks like flesh, the color they used. So if you ever have to do any touch-ups or anything like that, would be like make it difficult to try to match that color. It has almost like a translucent effect to the plastic. All our costume details are sculpted on. The high boots, they're actually sculpted. You got the garters go up, they're sculpted. Everything is sculpted. All these little skulls, the skulls are nicely painted. Now, I like how they hid the thigh swivel down here too, and the more rounded part of the anatomy of the leg. So when you use the thigh swivel, it's very well hidden. And with all the paint, it looks really nice. It's very clean. The only thing I see with paint-wise issue, when they were putting the blue highlights on, I noticed on both my figures, they had the toes pointing straight down like this. So when you move the foot up, you can see a black curve where the blue highlights did not get covered on the lower part of the leg. So when they were airbrushing the highlights on, they had to heel up like this. With the head sculpt, it is really nice. It really captures Lady Death. I like the look. Well, with the being one piece like this, it's very heavy and it's going to restrict articulation. If they could have done like a two-piece, had the head separate and the hair and a softer, more pliable material, like a lighter, maybe even hollowed it out. So right now it's very back heavy because of that hair. Let's do a quick look at the accessories for Lady Death. She has the Death Sigh. All these are really well sculpted. Really nice detail and paint. The grips are all painted. The wood's painted. The nice silver finish on top of the sigh. Same way with the Deathbringer. You have a two-tone. You have the bronze down at the base. You have a bronze fuller. It's not really a fuller because it's protruding out. But you got this nice ridge. It goes down the center of the sword. You have two grip hands. This is one thing. If they do a reissue later on with like the blue line cape, I would like to see new hands with vertical hinges. These are horizontal hinges, and I'm sure I've complained about it before on other videos. When you have like sword weapons or guns, you really need a vertical hinge so you can wield your sword like this. A nice little touch with the paint details. All the fingers on each of the hands, the grip hands and open split hands, every fingernail is painted. And you have that subtle blue highlights onto the skin tones. You can see that translucency to the actual plastic they use. Really gives it a really nice fleshy look. You can see the light actually kind of passing through the hand. And with the cape, it actually is removable. You can, nice sculpted flow to it. Inside the cape, it has nice shading as well. It has a nice blue highlights on the outside of the cape. Let's do a rundown on articulation. I'm going to use my other one. I actually used the cape from the old Lady Death figure, which had a cloth cape. Had a quick little mod to it and changed the clasp. Oh, it's easier to show off the articulation with the cloth cape. The head is on a ball joint, and there's a peg goes into the neck. There's a single ball peg up there, and it just pegs into the neck. So go ahead and just leave the cape off for the articulation. With that ball peg, she can look down, no up, She looks straight ahead, just because of the big hair. She gets plenty of tilt. She looked side to side. 360, not really possible with the hair. It's going to collide with the shoulders. So you're going to have a limited range from here to here. This skin shoulders, they go all the way up. The bicep swivel is here at the top of the glove. And it's at the most rounded part of the bicep. So it works pretty well. I'm normally not a fan of this style, like I mentioned, but where it's part of the costume look, it works well for this character. I wouldn't want this style of bicep swivel for a character that don't have a glove like this. She has single joint elbows, but they're sculpted where they go past 90 degrees. Hinge and swivel wrist. Both style hands have horizontal hinges. The top of the torso, I actually was hoping for like a regular diaphragm joint, but she can't crunch forward or back, either one. It just rocks. I don't think that's actually any kind of real articulation. It's just the slop in the actual joint. But she does a full 360 at the top torso. Ball jointed hips. She actually kicks out farther than most Spider-Man figures. She can kick forward and straight forward. Can't really kick back. There's something in the way back there. Thigh rotation. Full 360. Double joint knees. And kick her butt. And she has hinged feet. She does have a rotation in the foot, but it's not really more like a pivot. Because where she has the extreme high heel, that peg is going to come down at an angle. So you're only going to get a limited use for that rotation. It does help some, but it's not like a full ankle pivot because you're not going to be able to get the true pivot unless you have flat feet. Let's do a few size comparisons from other 6-inch lines. Here we have Lady Death next to Monica Rambeau and Carol Danvers. Here we have her next to Iron Man and Captain America. Here we have her next to Master Universe Classics He-Man and a G.I. Joe Classifieds Cobra Trooper. After waiting for these figures for a year after the initial pre-order, anticipation and expectations was super high on these figures for me, and especially coming from Loose Collector. I know this is their first official figure. I do have a little bit of QC issues with like the yellowish tinge on the shoulders here, and looks like the way the factory was doing the overspray, they didn't have the feet pointing straight down when they were doing the blue highlights. So both figures has the same black curve where the ankles were covering up the lower legs. That's a minor complaint there. The only issue on my other one, I actually have a little bit ugly sprue marks on the back of the upper arms. I don't know why they didn't have, when they designed the molds, I wish they could have done the sprue marks on the plastic injection mold points. Could have been down where the bicep swivel underneath there would have been hidden. Seems like that would have been a little better location for that, but I've never designed molds, so I don't know if that was even feasible. Other issue, if they ever did like a reissue or an update for Lady Death, I would love to see them do like a alternate cape with the blue lined. The blue cape is from her original look. The red cape it's not really modern. It actually came later. And I'd like to have vertical hinge hands for the grip hands. That'll help with some dynamic posing for using the swords, or just natural position for the swords and scythe. And the only other thing I would like to see, if they did a update, try to figure something else with the head. The head is beautifully sculpted, capturing the 90s look for Lady Death, and the big flowing hair. But the big flowing hair is the issue. That is a solid chunk of plastic, and that is not a soft material. So it doesn't flex, and it's very heavy, makes the figure back heavy. So it been nice if they could have figured out how to do a two-piece head. Had the head separate, the hair be a separate piece, and if they could have done like a hollowed out the hair and use a soft material to lighten it up to help it keep from being back heavy. With everything said, these are absolutely gorgeous figures, and I couldn't be happier with them. They are just phenomenal representation of Lady Death, and I cannot wait to get the next figure in the series. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to watch the review. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.